So what's the risk by not retiring? You ever thought about that? Interesting, huh? It's always a risk. And when I say retire, just revisit. Let me reiterate. I'm talking quitting your crappy old job and going into something that you want to do. I don't know what it is. It might just be sitting around freaking playing Scrabble. I don't know. I don't care. But it might be going and starting a cake making business. So I just did an interview this morning with these two great people up in Bangor, Maine. Bangor. I gotta remember how to say it, man. I need a haircut. Man, this mop, I'm like hippie. And they have 4 kids. She's only 32. He's 34. He was working for 10 years in a bank. And she raised the kids. And the kids are old enough now to be in a Christian school. And so she was making cakes at home. And all her local customers said to me, you should open a business. And she goes, yeah, whatever. And then finally, last year, she said, I'm gonna open a business. Husband quit his job, and their whole reason and their whole income now is from the cake making business. 4 kids, Christian school in Bangor, Maine, costs $1,000 a month. All right? And they took the risk to do what they wanted to do. Now, for them, it's because they're not taking the jabba, but maybe for you, it's something else. Maybe for you, it's you want to take a risk because your company is being bought out by the 4th private equity firm, and every time they squeeze you some more, maybe they're bringing on the CEO or the Chief Officer of Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity, the Chief Die Officer, and you're like, yeah, the fact that you call yourself a Die Officer, you don't mean the. Remember, Bart Simpson with Sideshow Bob said, die, Bart, die, and a tattoo on his back or his stomach that said, die, Bart, die. And in court, they asked him, Sideshow Bob, you know you want to kill Bart. That's why I get a tattoo that says, die, Bart, die. He goes, no, it's the, Bart, the. And the jury was convinced. Classic. Kelsey Grammer, Sideshow Bob, one of the best characters of all time. Of all times. Anyway, so these guys took a huge gamble. And not only that, they had to deal with crazy loon liberals who don't like the fact that they support Trump and don't like the fact that they don't mandate masks and jabs, the whole thing in their business. And he created a bunch of fake reviews on Google that Google would not take down. And it cost them business. Ironically, it changed their lives because a local pastor saw that they're being bullied, and this local pastor came in and say, we support you, and invited them to their church. And I tell you, man, it's just another example. When bad things happen, just hang tight, because you just don't know what the good that may transpire. So these bad things, they had just started a business in the middle of a pandemic. He had quit his job, and then they're getting rammed through by some bully libs, and it seemed bleak. But it actually was the best thing ever happened, as they said, not me, they said. It's a risk. Everything's a risk. I'll never forget this guy, Alan Moore, who I'm not the biggest fan of. He's just too liberal for me, but from XY Planning Network. And this young era of financial planners just, oh boy, just so woke. Just have never actually had I don't want to indict this guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But the wokeness has got to stop. Anyway, and this is what caused me to start my own business. And, so with that, I always give credit to Alan Moore, even though I don't like his politics. He had a big impact on my life. And he won't know who I am. But anyway, so he said in an interview he was doing with Kitsis about starting XY Planning Network, he said, yeah, it was a risk. He goes, what if I fail? What if this? What if that? He goes, but I know at the end of the day, if I fail at this, I can always go back to various financial planning firms, and no one's going to say, oh, no, you started a business and failed, I don't want to hire you. No one's going to, if they do that, you don't want to work for them anyway. They're all going to say, good, man, so you have a ability to try new things, to think outside the box. You're a go-getter. And he said, I can always go back and find a gig, as a paraplanner is what we call them, parafinancial planner, if it doesn't work out. And so the risk for him, he thought, was, well, I come back with my tail between the legs and say, yeah, it didn't pan out. I'll never forget that. I said, I can do the same thing. I'm good at sales. People like me. I know how to talk. I've been in the business for a long time. What I'm saying? If it doesn't work out for my own business, I'll go to some financial planning firm and say, look, do you need an assistant financial planner, financial, whatever it is. Even if I'm not making millions of dollars, I guarantee I can find some gig. You know what I'm saying? And that was a risk that was worth taking. Now, you might be in a line of work where you don't have that cushion to fall back on if things go awry. Well, how do you know exactly? Have you actually thought it through? Now listen to Cake Mama and Bill and Libby. I forgot the last name off the top of my head. From Cake Mama up in Bangor, Maine. They got 4 kids. She has thyroid cancer. One of the kids has major nut allergies. No health insurance other than what they could get through Obamacare. And this is what I was always wanting about Obamacare. I always said, Pelosi, if you just stop the politics, because I've said this thousands of times, Pelosi's argument for Obamacare, when it first was being debated, was so spot on. She said, imagine if you could leave work and go do what you wanted to do. Imagine if you didn't have to worry about health insurance. I said, that is the right argument. That is the right argument. Imagine if you didn't have to worry about health insurance and you could leave. You weren't tied to some crappy job. She didn't say crappy, but you weren't tied to some job just for health insurance. Imagine if you didn't have to worry about that, but you could go do what you wanted to do. And I said, that is right on the argument, because a lot of people are tied to their freaking jobs because of health insurance. And then they started making it about, oh, you're evil if you don't support this. Oh, we got to support the uninsured. And I was like, it should never have been about the uninsured, because the uninsured is a minor population. It really is. Not very many. It's the insured who are getting screwed by having to pay for extensive premiums and have to stay in their crap little job because they can't afford those. And Pelosi had to go political. And, frankly, maybe we can blame it on the Republicans for making it political, too. That's fine. We can blame both sides. But the point being is, with Bill and Libby, he let go of his crappy little job. And I said that to whatever bank he used to work for. He didn't say that. I'm just saying that. Corporate job. And he left, and now we're on the exchange. And is it great? No. Is it perfect? No. Is it adequate? Yes. That's all that matters. You got adequate coverage. And it has a guaranteed issue, which again, kudos to Obamacare for getting that done. I mean, I wish they just said, here is a $10,000 per year voucher, go find your own health insurance, free market, but that's never going to come. Once the government gets involved, they never let go. So, again, I wish they had it better. Republicans had many chances to do something. They didn't do it. So, we're stuck with this. And I hate to say it's the best of a bad situation, but it is what it is, man. So they took the risk, and now they're blossoming because they dealt with the naysayers. They dealt with the negativity. And it just, they strived, and now they survived, and now they're thriving. How do you know you can't do that? How do you know? How do you know that you can't? And then what is the risk? I was reading my man Chris Barfield's letter today, newsletter from Barfield Financial, showing 2 U.S. Marshals got killed in action, KIA. And I don't know, do you call it killed in action if you're a police officer? I don't know. But either way, they got killed while they're fighting, for the good, the truth, the American way. And it's just like, maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying, you don't want to die at your job. Now, that's what makes, police work and military so honorable, is that they do die at your job. You don't want to die at your job for shuffling papers for an insurance company. You don't want to die at your job, I don't know what else it would be, just freaking taking orders from some clown wokester. You don't want to die at your job doing that. You don't want to spend a quarter to a third of your life working from some wokester who doesn't know his head from the hole in the ground. So what kind of risk are you taking by not retiring, man? And again, retiring doesn't mean you just don't do anything. It just means you do what you want to do. Think on that, would you? How do you know you can't do it? How do you know you can't afford it? Have you actually crunched the numbers? All right. Love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.